Did I scare you? This is a horror movie review. You should have expected it. The Conjuring 2, directed by James Wan, the same man behind Saw, Dead Silence, and Insidious, and the upcoming Aquaman movie. I'm excited about that one. The horror genre has always been my favorite kind of movies, and James Wan has quickly become one of my favorite directors. Every horror movie he's involved with has a very specific feel to it, and he's really good at scaring us. I consider myself a horror movie veteran. It takes a lot for me to get scared in a horror movie, and The Conjuring 2 succeeds at that. The main characters in the movie are Ed and Lorraine Warren, real-life paranormal investigators that were involved with a bunch of weird cases, including the Amityville House investigation, and they were also two of the main characters in the first Conjuring movie. And just like in the first movie, they were tasked with helping another family dealing with an evil spirit that's haunting their house. The Conjuring 2 is also based on a true story like the first movie was. Now keep in mind, when a movie says based on a true story, it doesn't mean everything you see in the movie happened exactly the way it did in real life. There were a ton of things in this movie that were clearly made up, and other things that were exaggerated, or as I like to call it, Hollywoodized. This movie tells the story of the real-life Enfield poltergeist haunting. This happened in England in the late 1970s, and it's one of the investigations that the Warrens were involved in. I'll put a link in the description below that describes the events of that haunting in more detail. If you're interested in learning more about it, I definitely recommend taking a look at it. The girls involved said they heard demonic voices, and a police officer even saw a chair slide on the floor all by itself. And it's claimed to be one of the most documented hauntings, but there's also a lot of claims that it may have been a hoax, that the girls involved were faking it, or even that the Warrens over-exaggerate a lot of their stories. Regardless of if you believe in that stuff or not, it's an interesting story, so I'll also post links below that have the real audio recordings done in the investigation. They're creepy as hell. Here's a short clip of those recordings too, check it out.
Hello, wow, so Mr. Frank's all asleep and he's talking. Janet, Margaret and Betty are all asleep and he's talking. Hello, Mr. Playfair.
My name is Bill Wilkins, and I'm 72 years old.
What do you make of that voice?
Sounds confused. Is he senile?
The voice on this tape is coming from an 11-year-old girl.
The Conjuring 2 is a horror movie that knows how to scare its audience without focusing on a ton of blood and gore. It's a ghost story, and it has all the stereotypes you would expect from a ghost story. You've got chairs moving by themselves, objects being flung around, disembodied voices. It's all there, and it's fun as hell to experience in a theater. One of the most terrifying things that was made up for the movie was the freaking nun, who now may be getting her own spin-off movie, by the way. Oh, and I think she's perfect for Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights house. Do it, Universal. This demon keeps appearing in the form of a nun, and every time it pops up, something absolutely horrifying always happens. The last movie made in this franchise was Annabelle, and that's one of my favorite modern-day horror films. That one focused more on making the atmosphere so suspenseful and uncomfortable to the point where you're cringing in your seat expecting something to happen. It just keeps building up that tension. The Conjuring 2 does the opposite, but it also works. Instead of building up tension throughout the entire movie, this one focuses more on jump scares. Loud, scary moments that make you jump in your seat. At one point, there was a completely unexpected, disembodied yell, and I jumped and accidentally elbowed my friend in the side like this. You can see him here with me at Universal Studios, before I tragically wounded him in the theater. My only complaint about this movie is that it does use some CG when I don't feel it was really necessary. It's a little jarring because most of the movie's real. The people are real, the sets are real. Whenever the ghosts pop up, it's usually people in makeup, and it looks great. Once the CG pops up, you can tell it's not a real person. I feel like a puppet or an animatronic monster in these cases would have been far better. I always talk about how much I love practical effects in horror movies, and I feel Hollywood now uses CG a lot in movies when it's not really necessary, just to kind of save time. Other than that, it's an outstanding horror movie, so if you're a fan of horror movies or just want to get scared, go check this one out. It's worth the price of a movie ticket. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that review and you give The Conjuring 2 a shot. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can keep up with all of my content, and check out my other videos too. You can click some right here on this page. This is Fabian from GamerThumbTV. Till next time, guys.